Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. It's a new year, new us. Just kidding. It's same us. But
I don't know. I feel pretty different than this time last year.
yeah, no, I will say.
So do you, probably.
Yeah, baby, about to hit 30. Life.
I don't know
like
what
a
the
brick
fuck
wall
you
when
guys are
get to a
talking
certain
about.
age.
Shit's all the same.
This week, we're taking a look at L.A. Confidential, the 1997 crime drama mystery film. To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail. In the film, Russell Crowe's character, Bud White, when he first meets Kim Basinger's character at her house or her apartment, she asks if he wants a drink, and he says, "Scotch, neat." I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah, we're not sadists here.
So we're going to play off the scotch, and we're doing a scotch sour variation on the whiskey sour, which we have done before, but we're using scotch. Slightly different taste profile. If you're like Cam does not really like scotch, but he loves bourbon. So
Yes. In speaking of New Year, I actually made the drink this week. However, I did Randall it in the bougie way.
Oh.
So I didn't replace anything that wasn't there. So I guess maybe not a Randall.
Did you add the egg white?
I added the egg white and I added the bourbon instead of the scotch because I don't own scotch. And I wish there was a little more foam, but it is delicious. It is very good. I love this drink. I love whiskey sours with egg whites. They are so good.
I did the non-egg white version with the scotch, and it's still good. It's can't particularly say that there was a difference to me between bourbon and scotch.
It should be smokier. That's what I think. I'm sending you guys a very cool picture of my cool drink.
I feel like I should have made one with bourbon and one with scotch, and then I could like taste.
So yeah,
test
I
them.
think my guess is I don't think I have a scotch. I do have a really smoky bourbon, or actually, sorry, I have a really smoky whiskey. A Danish whiskey that I have, a rye, is really smoky. So that's kind of similar. But yeah, I would imagine it's not as, words are escaping me, but I think if you were to do a sour with this, it would be pretty sweet with a hint of smoke, I guess. But for me, that's not the flavor profile I like. So the bourbon is, in my opinion, smoother. I think kind of sweeter too.
Well, I think it has to do with like is it the mash build that they use for
So the
bourbon
mash
versus
bill
scotch?
a
'Cause-
difference. I believe
bourbon,
also
I think, has
the
more corn, which makes it sweeter.
that's well, yeah, bourbon. I believe has to be. I don't want to mess this up, but I believe bourbon has to be at least 50% corn.
51.
Yeah, all right, 51. So I believe that is the case, and so I think it's the mash bill. It's not build, it's Bill.
Oh, well,
Idiot.
dummy.
God. Do you even do a
Stupid.
fucking alcohol podcast, you fucking loser?
So
Also,
anyway,
it's called Google. I don't know why you guys are guessing. It took me 2 seconds just to look up the difference.
I wanted to
fuck's
get
sake.
it off the top of my head, you know? I, for one, really like, instead of using the resources at hand to figure out the information, I actually like just speculating about it for like 10
I like
minutes.
going, this is going to piss people off. I like going full Joe Rogan, where I just
Oh,
rant
no.
about shit I know nothing about, wait till I'm corrected, and then act like it was all fine, and let everyone just
Right.
believe the shit I made up for 20 minutes.
To me, this is very similar to when a bunch of dudes get together and name the top 10 draft picks in 2010, you know? Like, we could easily look it up, but it's more fun to guess.
I'm not going to
Ben said, "I don't even need to look it up."
I'll sit there in my head
alright.
and do it, but I don't need to. I don't want to do that.
Oh, no.
Well, it's more fun to speculate, and then people will correct us. It generates clicks and comments.
We're all about
and-
getting
yeah,
content. Yeah. Interactions.
Well, I was gonna say, isn't like scotch is usually more like peaty, but I doubt they use peat in like the processing, do they?
So, according to the internet, because Ben said we should do that, I guess, Scotch is a single grain whiskey. So, I don't know if you have to specify which grain, but
Yeah, I would imagine scotch is probably malt, since they're usually single malt whiskeys.
yeah. This thing online says some Scotch is peated, which makes it smoky, but there's different types of Scotch that are not just peated.
I peated my pants once, but
Did you get your calico cut pants? to make it
did.
look like you didn't.
I
pay your
donated.
fans. You gotta give. Maybe there's a scotch I could try that's not as smoky that I would like. I don't know.
I feel like in this cocktail, you wouldn't mind it, honestly.
You're probably right. I think the sweetness gets rid of a lot of the cut. I feel because even in the bourbon version, the whiskey is just so lightly in there. I mean, not like
it's kind of pushed to the back.
by volume.
I feel like
but
the lemon, the sour of the lemon and the sweetness of the simple syrup really is the forefront. If you want to make a scotch sour, or if you're like Cam, you don't like scotch, you don't have scotch, make it with any whiskey that you have available. It's 2 ounces of scotch or your whiskey of choice, 3/4 ounces of lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. This recipe, the one I used, didn't call for bitters. This one does 2 dashes of bitters. And then if you want to be like Cam, you want to zhuzh it up a little bit. I feel like it adds a little bit more mouthfeel and texture, but you can do egg white.
I highly recommend.
And with the egg white, you dry shake that first, no ice in the cocktail, and then add your ice and shake again. So you'll get that frothy mixture.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I just separated the white from the egg. Like you said, did the shake without the ice, did it with it for a while, came out really well. I wish it had a little more foam, but I think that's a user error. But it had a decent amount of foam, and like I get people's hesitancy about it, but man, it's really good. I don't know.
I think it's a lot safer than people think.
Yeah,
apparently the egg shell is where the salmonella would be.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I have seen
what?
Is that true?
Yeah,
let's just Joe Rogan this shit and move past
hold on, because this doesn't make sense to me. You're saying the shell.
Yeah, like it's on the outside, like the dirty bacteria is on the shell.
Like the poop.
Okay.
Look, I don't know enough about science to refute it.
I just feel like when it's always a thing with raw eggs, regardless, the fear of salmonella, and I don't know anyone who eats raw eggs, shell included. I don't know anyone who does it. I don't know.
You should really try this shell.
Just a texture thing for me, not a big shell guy, you know?
I love them. I just smash them in the pan as hard as I can to really just crunch it up into a fine powder.
So turns out,
is it
again,
a yolk?
Using Ben's thing of the internet, you're both right. Salmonella can get on the shells of the eggs, and this happens when the bird lays the eggs and the birds touch poop after being laid, or the eggs touch poop. So that can happen. Eggs are washed going to the grocery store, so not a big concern. Salmonella can get inside the eggs too. It happens when forming inside the chicken before the egg makes a shell. Today, a lot fewer hens have this problem than during the 80s and 90s. But some eggs are contaminated with salmonella.
I wonder what happened in the 80s and 90s that really changed chicken digestion.
Probably antibiotics or some shit.
Hit the show notes below. Make yourself a Scotch sour cocktail. Recipe will be down there, and you can hit the Casker links and get some scotch delivered directly to your door. Make one. Send us a picture on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod and let us know what you think of it. We'd love to share your pictures and your thoughts on the cocktail. You can check out LA Confidential as a recording on Netflix, so check it out before you listen if you want, and we're going to spoil the movie, so... LA Confidential is a 1997 crime drama mystery film. Currently sits at an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb. Directed by Curtis Hanson. Written by James Ellroy, Brian Helgeland, Curtis Hanson. Stars Kevin Spacey, Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, Kim Basinger, Danny DeVito, Paul Guilfoyle, James Cromwell.
That's pretty much it.
I was gonna say.
Simon Baker, not a top cast member, but pretty interesting that, the guy who would go on to be the star of The Mentalist for so long is in this movie as like a bit part, kind of his big break movie.
Who?
What else?
Simon Baker, the star of The Mentalist on CBS.
Oh, okay.
What character does he play?
The lead? The Mentalist?
No, in LA Confidential. He plays a character named Matt Reynolds.
He's
the guy that they try to get to
he's
sleep
the
with
actor. Yeah, he's the actor that gets murdered. Yeah.
What else did this director
Who
do?
does he play? The fucking star of the TV show that he was
He
on?
plays the mentalist.
I don't remember his
In
name.
The Mentalist.
Wow, this
he
is
plays
like
the titular
only-
character, Dylan.
Kind of a big deal.
Oh shit, this guy directed 8 Mile. Okay, I was like, this is like the only like halfway decent movie this dude directed, and then I was like, oh wait. Like I don't know a
I like
single.
how he
other
said
movie this
halfway
guy-
decent, kind of tipped his hat there.
No. I mean,
I
like this movie.
Trouble in
I like this movie.
Paradise.
8.2 on IMDb for this movie. The only other thing that's close is like 7.2s, 7.5. No, that's a TV series. Sorry, a 7.3. But I've never heard of this movie. Too Big to Fail. It's a TV
I've heard
movie.
of that. Yeah.
And then Chasing Mavericks is a 7.1.
Too Big to Fail was... Oh, what the hell? Wasn't that
About the
like
2008
the
recession.
collapse?
Housing.
Yeah.
That was an HBO.
Did you mention the Greg the Bunny episode that he did?
I was going to, but I saw it was a series. So
He directed one episode and it got a 7.5. I love the
No, I think that's the
inflated
whole
ratings
series.
of these No, because if you look on IMDb and you look to the right, it says one episode.
No. I'm saying the whole series. Oh no, his episode was a 7.8 from 31 people.
Oh, the 7.5 is the whole series.
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Why would they
Piddler
do
on the
it like
Roof,
that?
the episode he directed, is
Oh my God, is that Seth Green?
Some say it
Jesus.
was really
Yes,
the
it is.
seminal episode of the Greg the Bunny franchise, what he did. Really shocked everything to the core.
Yeah, it's
how many
Eugene Levy
seasons
and
this
Seth
shit?
Green.
Don't
Gary
Don't forget
Oldman
Sarah
is in it.
Silverman. Sarah
Sarah
Silverman's in it.
Wasn't it?
And Gary
I've never-
Oldman. Gary
never heard
Oldman
of
is
this
in
show,
it as himself, though.
I think it was
Oh my
only one episode, right? Or one season?
I've never heard of this show before
I
now.
was gonna say I don't know.
Oh, I've heard of it.
LA Confidential currently sits at number 123 on the IMDb Top 250 list. It won 2 Oscars and was nominated for 9. It won Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Kim Basinger, and Best Writing Screenplay based on material previously produced or published. But it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Art Direction, Set Direction, Best Sound, Film Editing, and Music for Original Dramatic Score. I had seen this film maybe 4 years ago for the first time. Ben, I know you love this movie, and this is your first time, Cam, seeing it.
It is.
Well, let's get the Cam, let's get the intro the first time, and then we'll let Ben. We'll set him loose. He's like a dog on a leash.
Okay.
We just gotta unleash him into the dog park.
Oh my God. Weird analogy. All right. Anyway, for my virgin viewing of LA Confidential.
My wording was
This
weird.
this whole New Year, New Us thing needs to go back. We need to go back. I don't know what it is.
All right. No, I'll do that again.
No, we're
No.
keeping the first one in. You can redo it.
It's here.
It doesn't
It's here
matter.
to stay.
It's stay.
Damn it.
It's on the record already.
Damn it. I think I'm going to say something, and it's that I think I liked Chinatown better than this one, I think. Not that it was bad. It was decent, but it was I feel like it was kind of convoluted for me. Like the whole narrative was a little convoluted throughout the entire movie. It's kind of hard to track what's even happening. By the end, it obviously comes together, but yeah, I just think it was it was good, and I think a lot of the performances were pretty good. It sucks that Kevin Spacey's such a creep because he is a really good actor. And I feel like every time I watch something, there's a little asterisk on it, this is so good, but Kevin Spacey really sucks.
Yeah.
As a person, as an actor,
Yes.
he's so fucking good.
Yeah,
Why
as an
are you
actor,
such
he's
a
great.
scumbag?
I wouldn't say necessarily convoluted, but I feel like it's not necessarily high stakes, but I feel like the story, it's not entangled as much, I feel like, in my opinion. Towards the end, it starts to come together like that. And I mean, you were comparing it to Chinatown. or hell, I feel like a lot of noirs are kind of like that, where you get this damsel in distress type character, and then the detective gets into this, not necessarily romance, but like they get pulled into this. You see this whole other layer of the underworld, and then it like comes around. I feel like this one's a slightly different because he's not a private eye or anything. He's an actual, like, they're actual police officers. So it's a bit more of like we're literally just trying to solve this case. I think the interesting thing to me about this movie, compared to some of those other detective movies, is you see a little bit more of the like. There's the goody two shoes cop he's gonna rise the ranks. He's gonna be that guy. There's like Bud, who is like, he's a little rough around the edges, but he has sort of a moral compass. Like, like anything to deal with women, whether there is like domestic violence, there's something with like women being mistreated, he's gonna act. It's not gonna be the right response, but he's gonna do something to help them out. And then, you kind of see they're like basically the two main characters the whole movie. There are other characters who come into play, like Kevin Spacey's character, who like you feel like he would be a little more important in this story.
I'm surprised he got murked so early. I mean, it wasn't like super early, but
I think to me, I was gonna say, to me, that plot twist where he dies,
by the hand of the captain or whatever.
Yeah, so Ed Exley, Guy Pearce's character, if you haven't seen the movie or just if you need a little refresher, he's the goody two-shoes cop. He's a little corrupt, though, in the way that he's, like, just turning in his own boys. Like, he's turning in cops and stuff to, like, rise up in the ranks.
He's not corrupt.
That's not corrupt. That's the opposite. He's just opportunistic.
He doesn't play the game. He's
opportunistic. Because those people did do bad things.
Yeah.
Like, the people he's ratting on did do bad. They did, like, beat up a prisoner.
He's a teacher's pet. He's a snitch.
Teacher's pet.
Yeah.
Teacher's pet.
He's internal affairs before really internal affairs.
Yeah. So he's rising up in the ranks. He gets to this part where he arrived to this case at the Night Owl first. And so he's, like, been investigating this. And so he brings in Jack Vincennes, who is... he helps on this crime show, but he's also like a detective within the force. So those two pair together. Eventually they get to this point where like they kind of know what's going on. So Jack goes to talk to is he a sergeant? I forget what he is, but he's like the captain Dudley Smith.
I think he's the captain.
He goes to his house and then the captain shoots him. I feel like at that point, and maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention. Like, I feel like the threads weren't tied enough for me to like know at that point. Like, you kind of find out in the moment that Dudley is involved when he shoots Jack. Like, it's just kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely tension in the scene to give you a clue as to what's going to happen. But yeah, I think once he does that, you're like, oh, he's in on the whole thing somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how yet.
I feel like they don't give you little like crumbs the whole time. It's literally like there's something more going on, and then like once Dudley shoots him, it's like, oh shit, like the captain's bad. That's bad.
Right.
Especially as the movie starts to develop too, and it's like, oh shit, the captain's in on it, and then he's like pulling all these other people in to be like, I'm just gonna try and get Bud to do it for me,
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty late in the game, but it's interesting that the plot of Ed discovering that the captain's in on it really hinges on kind of like a really weak thread, which is that Jack said the name of this dude who Ed worked with, who was like a traitor, and the captain like asked him about it. He's like, hey, do you know about blah blah blah? Oh, it was the guy who killed his dad, right?
Then, yeah, the fake name he gave the unknown assailant who killed his dad. He called him Rollo Tomasi.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, that's how you know that he betrayed you, I guess.
Yeah, well, because he didn't know that it was, like, the captain asked him, like, who is Rollo Tomasi?
Right.
Like, he doesn't know that it's a fake person.
Right. But, I mean, it could have, like, he could have mentioned it in past. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying there's, like, a bunch of different ways that could have.
Yeah, but isn't it a thing where literally they were wasn't he trying to figure out, like, who they knew Jack was murdered, but they were trying to figure out like who he was talking to, because
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of makes sense where it's like, we just had this conversation, Jack just found out about this thing, and now this guy all of a sudden knows about it the minute Jack's dead. Like, huh,
Yeah.
that seems
Yeah.
pretty sketchy. No,
It's definitely sus, but
the one thing that was crazy to me was Kevin Spacey's acting in that scene. So what they did, this is a little... Again, I love this movie, so
we're getting
I
into
know
it.
some of the fun fact stuff of it. Kevin Spacey had them put a dot on a sheet of paper and hang it all the way back off screen, and he literally sat when he got shot and just stared dead at that dot, not blinking, while they filmed that.
Wow.
Like, it was not like a still. That was
Yeah.
It kept rolling the entire time while it was on him.
Dang.
Is it weird to anyone else that the the LA police captain has like an Irish accent?
No.
That
Is
doesn't
it weird?
Put,
I don't
know.
know. I don't know enough about the times to know if that's weird or not.
It was a very, I mean, it was a
I don't-
very
I was-
common, I mean, I think it was a really common profession for
immigrants?
Irishmen, especially in like the 20s, 30s. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense if they had kind of started then and kind of rose through the ranks by 53.
Yeah. All right. And it's like a thick. Oh boy. Oh.
I mean, he was
Boy, oh.
probably a first or second generation immigrant in the U.S. God, Dylan, show some fucking respect. Jesus Christ.
It's fine. I just
Dylan out here trying to get us
sometimes-
canceled.
Did you
Yes.
see that this guy, that James Cromwell played Alfred Pennyworth in Merry Little Batman that
Yeah.
came out last year? Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So there's points I want to dive into because again, I love this movie. I've seen it, God, more than I could count on one hand. I haven't read the novel. I'm gonna throw that out there. I have listened to James Ellroy, the author of the book, talk, and it does not surprise me the way that this movie kind of like, it seems like it's all over the place and then all of a sudden just gets pulled tight, because in interviews and listening to him when he talks, that's very much how he is. It seems like it's just a bunch of random shit spewed out, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now everything he said kind of makes sense. So I do get that. I think the other thing that makes this a little bit kind of more difficult narratively to do than something like Chinatown is the fact that Chinatown's focused on Jack Nicholson's character. This movie kind of balances having like three separate characters investigating three different things tying in together. Like, so it when you kind of put it like that, I think it also kind of makes more sense as to why it kind of seems kind of sporadic until it's like, oh wait, now once we kind of are able to put everything together from three separate narratives. But the biggest thing I love about this movie, especially on the latest rewatch, I feel like a lot of the times you get these movies and like, yeah, the private investigator is like, I think you think something like the Maltese Falcon or those kind of things where it's like the hard-nosed private eye, but they're cool, they're this, they're that. All of the main like three detectives in this movie, they're not really likable.
No.
Like Ed's
No,
a
they're not at
kiss
all.
Ed's a kiss ass and kind of a prick. Jack is smug as all hell, and he makes it well known he thinks he's God's gift to Earth. And Bud is, I don't know, kind of a violent sociopath. Like,
Yeah. I feel like Bud is
the dude's got major problems, and he's the guy who like he knows everything. He knows the guys around him are doing fucked up shit, and he's just like, no, they're my friends, so it's fine. So you're just
Yeah.
kind of like, you're part of the problem here, dude.
Bud is the classic cop from the 90s movie. Like, that's
So-
him right there. 80s, 90s. Like, that's Bud.
So like, it's just so interesting that, you know, as you're watching this movie, you're just kind of like, you're rooting for these guys.
Kinda
but at
hate
the
all these
same-
people.
But at the same time, you're like, you know, I want them to solve this thing so that there's justice. But at the same time, I really don't want any of them to get like positive outcomes from it because they all kind of fucking suck. like, Jack, or Kevin Spacey's character Jack, is like, he's working with the magazines on like, oh, we're gonna so and so's doing
do
this.
this bust.
So and so's doing this illegal drug activity. You could make a bust. I could be there with the camera. We can do whatever. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up this young actor to sleep with this guy, and you be there when I bust him to take pictures. It's a win-win for both of us. But like, I'll set it up. It's like, all right, you're basically setting up this guy to commit a crime just to arrest him for it. Like, what the fuck, man? But at the same time, you're like, man, I really want to know what's going on, and I hope whatever's going on, like, they're able to solve this case.
I do think of the three, Jack might be the most likable, which is pretty ironic. I feel like Jack keeps it real, Like, I feel like he's like, kind of savvy with how police work works, and he's like, I don't know. I think there was a part where he was talking to the actor, I think, and he was like, yeah, this isn't really where I saw myself in Hollywood. And he's like, yeah, get in line. And so, I don't know. I think I don't really like any of them, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be him.
Yeah, I do feel like Jack is kind of like he's kind of on the outside of it all and like understands what happens in the police force.
Yes.
And
Bud's kind of a blue wall kind of guy, which I don't love.
Yeah.
But then Ed is the exact opposite of that, which I don't know how to feel about. The movie definitely paints it poorly, but I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say
I don't dislike Ed because he's a snitch. I dislike Ed because he seems
sure.
like such a self-righteous asshole.
Yeah,
and such a hypocrite.
Yeah,
such a goddamn hypocrite that it's just like I
don't like to spoil
I hate
the movie
how you are
so early. I feel like in the episode we already kind of talked about some.
Is
of
it
stuff,
early?
Like,
I don't know if it's early.
I mean, you guys already mentioned the biggest twist where Kevin Spacey's character gets murdered. You mentioned that really early on, and that is like the biggest. That is the Who is Kaiser Soze of this fucking movie.
Like, oh shit, he died. What?
Really drew that out.
But
yeah. Man, I'm sad they offed Kevin Spacey so early.
I mean,
all right, we're just gonna get right into spoiling this thing.
But
and then later, Dylan's like, I don't like to spoil the movie this early.
If we get,
bro,
if we get into the second,
we've busted
like after we get past the intro, anything's fair game. All right. Wait. And guess what? The captain also dies too. He gets shot in the back.
So,
all right. Well, that was what I was gonna say. I feel like at the end of the movie, when Ed finally like breaks his morals, basically, I'm like, yes, thank God, because you're just like, I mean, I hate that he became this like. I fucking
he
hate
benefited
the ending.
from it massively.
Yeah,
though.
I hate the ending when he's like, "Oh, you guys are gonna need two heroes in this story." I'm like, "Go fuck yourself, Ed." But I'm so glad he shot the captain in the back. Like, fuck the captain, because the captain was gonna do the same thing, basically. Like, oh, I killed you all, and then I got out of it, and here's the story. Like, I'm glad Ed finally played the game, but like, he benefited so much from it.
Yeah, he benefited the whole time. Especially when he framed those innocent black guys in the movie to do it. I mean, not intentionally.
He
but
didn't know initially. He
didn't know. And he did try and right that crime. He did try and right that.
Yeah, he's not the one who framed them. They were framed. He just is the one who basically like pushed them further along.
He was just another cog in the machine. He was just following orders, you know?
Like, yeah. Yeah.
What a great defense.
Have either of you guys seen like Memories of Murder? It's like a South Korean movie, or just like there's quite a few like South Korean like cop movies, but in those ones, I mean they are older as well. I think they're based in like the 70s or 80s, but like that movie or this movie kind of remind me of those movies in the way that like the cops operate, where they're like interrogating people and they just literally like beat the shit out of them. And like, how does this operate? Like Bud goes in there and like choke slams the dude to the wall and like sticks the gun in his mouth and tries to do Russian roulette on the guy. Or like, you know, when the people show up to the when they show up, like the guys that they essentially end up framing, but the guys that they blame for, um, God, what was the
Murders.
initial crime? Oh, the night
Night
owl
Owl.
murder. Like those three guys, they literally like they come in and they're like beat up and everything. So it's like something happened between there and showing
Right.
up to the to the station. Like like I don't know, how police operate nowadays, but like that just makes me
So
gross.
the
When
thing
they just,
I feel like one thing about it makes it kind of hard to watch like procedurals, especially too from this time period, because when Ed's doing, or sorry, not Ed, Bud is doing the Russian roulette. Like you're kind of rooting for him to do like get the information out, you know? Like I mean, you may not like the means, but you're like, yeah, get, whatever. But that's just cuz that's how the movie frames it too. And a lot of like old procedural cop movies or sorry, TV shows are like the same where it's like, yeah, they like may have committed some light civil liberties infractions, but they got the information they needed and they saved and they did, whatever. They busted him and right? They don't really make you
Yeah, they
think
saved the
twice
girl,
about
right?
the
Yeah, they
means to
did it.
do that. Um, and I think this also does the same thing. I mean, I think so. For me, not troubling, but like the tough part for me is like watching this media, and I mean, I think it's hard not to get like sucked into it. But like I said, you're like rooting for them to do this stuff. You're like, oh my god, the rules are in the way. The captain's getting on your nerves. Like, just do what you need to do to stop the bad guys, you know? And like, that's hard. Honestly, it's tough. It's tough.
that's why Batman's so awesome. He doesn't have to play by the rules. He's a vigilante.
Vigilante justice.
Yeehaw!
I mean, I think, okay, to Batman's credit, I think, like, especially the newer one definitely plays into, like, is vigilanteism okay? Is it right? Do I have the right to be doing this? Like, I think those are interesting things to talk about.
Well, and does he like like I feel like it also depends on the main character's moral compass. Oh, they're doing all this stuff. Is their mission actually good to what they're doing, or are they just doing it for like their own personal gain, or like because they have to, like that sort of stuff? It's like why is the main character, you know, chasing down baddies, beating up thugs,
Cracking
that sort of
heads.
stuff? Yeah, like what's the end goal here? Is it because they want to solve the crime and they want to like the betterment of the city, or is it like I guess like Bud White, like he wants to. I feel like his is more vengeance at times, but it's like
Yeah.
I mean fucking half the police force was like when they bring in the Hispanic guys and they start like whooping their ass because they thought like those guys beat up or shot the one guy. I forget exactly what it was. And that whole thing was blown way out of proportion where it was like, no, he's fine. He has like a couple bruises and everyone's like, no, he's got no eyes and he's walking on New Year's or he's like on
Okay, but he
life
did get
support.
assaulted in custody. Like, let's not like walk past that point.
No,
The,
yeah, I
the
mean,
police
yeah, no, I'm
officers
just saying.
did assault him in custody.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing is like none of them have a good like moral compass. Like they're all doing it just for vengeance at that point.
Yes.
But like I feel like a lot of the times when you're watching these movies, it's like, oh, do I like this character? Why is he doing this?
Yeah.
Is what he's doing okay? Like, I don't know.
It's a little different because it's intentional, but it kind of seems similar to like, I mean, not in the same, I don't know, like rooting for Walter White and Breaking Bad. It's kind of like, well, I don't know. I feel like he's the protagonist, but he's doing a lot of bad shit all the time, and it's not good.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
like watching
that too.
it's like watching Mad Men.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don Draper's a piece of shit, but you're constantly like, man, I really hope he gets this business deal done. Like, man, I really hope this is successful. And then you sit back and you're like, this is a dude who's constantly drinking, cheating on his wife, and is just overall a dick to everyone he works with. And yet for some reason everyone's like, do it, Don, do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If that is even your real name.
Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, the one character in this movie who I feel like got a bad hand dealt was Danny DeVito's character.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was just a loose end that needed to be tied, baby.
Like, is he a?
But he's also a giant skis
He is
ball.
a skis ball, but I love his character.
But he is
like,
I do love his character. He also is
off the record, on the QT, very
hush.
like he is a bit of a scumbag, but at the same time, he is only filming people who are committing crimes. Maybe he sets those people up to do those crimes.
He's really a vigilante, right?
And profiting
Batman,
off it.
right?
But like at the end of the day, those people given the opportunity do commit the crimes.
I mean, yes, he is a skis bag.
Yeah,
he's
those terrible crimes like possession of marijuana. those animals.
I'm not saying I agree with the definition. It's just I don't know, like
the time and place. It was illegal.
Right.
Was considered.
It still is, but it still is.
Not in L.A.
Technically. Well,
I will say I do love his narration. Like, I remember watching this movie for the first time and being like, is this Danny DeVito? Like, does he narrate this entire movie? Before I realized, and then it, like, cuts to actually seeing him, and you're like, oh, he's in the movie. Oh, okay. I didn't know. But then, like, every time something happens, he's kind of like the third-person narrator.
Which is weird because he dies partway through the movie, so then it's kind of like, how does that work? But... You know, it doesn't have to make sense.
He went on the night train to the big adios.
The part that doesn't make sense to me in this movie is when Ed goes to Lynn Bracken's place, and then they end up hooking up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, it does seem kind of like ham-fisted in there, like as like. She was so seductive that she had no prior interest and then all of a sudden was cool with it. It seemed kind of strange.
It seems like a plot point that is like just thrown in there to create this tension between, Bud White already hates him.
I mean, the police captain set that up deliberately. It's just shocking that it worked.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh yeah, like seduce this police guy when he comes by. And then we'll tell Bud that you did that.
Horny of a boy that he's like,
right?
Yes.
Bonk.
Bonk. Yeah, no, that dude needs to get hit with go to horny jail.
What is her? What is the fucking movie star that she looks like? Veronica Lake. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Also, that premise is so weird to me. Like, it's like, oh yeah, we just have this like prostitution ring, and it's actually just like we just have like people who get like celebrity.
Can't find
lookalikes.
that about porn parodies.
I don't know how to tell you this, Cameron. That was based on a real thing.
I'm not shocked that it's a real thing, but it still is fucking weird. Like, it's still I'm not shocked it's real, but it's weird.
Bonk America? I don't know
for
what
sure.
to tell you.
I mean, Hollywood people, they all need to go to horny jail for sure. But
yeah, there was apparently several. Mickey Rooney had talked about one that he had. I just read about it too, where he was talking about something where he recalls. I don't know that he said he was there, but I don't know. Seems kind of odd that you bring it up there, Mickey.
Right.
You know. He makes a reference about the T&M studio, which was a brothel where women were film star lookalikes. And then there was apparently another one that was called like May's Place or something. And I guess like the madam of the brothel looked like Mae West. And all the other prostitutes also looked like movie stars from the era. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like a weird thing. But at the same time, like, yeah, that doesn't shock me that that's a real thing. Zach's not here to make more comments on this, so I don't know how to proceed. I'm really thrown off here.
No, Zach would have a run with that.
Oh, he'd have so many. I'm sure he'd probably have a list of names that he could talk about that would be like, well, this person looks like this person. This person looks like this person.
Thank God.
So the other interesting real-life piece of trivia in this movie... So Bud goes to talk to Johnny Stompanato, who was a real life person. And he's talking about like how he's with like the Lana Turner lookalike. and it turns out it's really Lana Turner.
Yeah.
They were really in a real relationship. I can't remember how long they were together, but there's a story that Lana Turner was filming a movie with Sean Connery. Johnny Stompanato showed up on set. I don't know what the hell he was doing. He got lippy, and apparently he pulled a gun, and then Sean Connery beat him up.
Wow.
And then he got deported back to the U.S.
Wow.
Now we go from the happy part to the sad part. Johnny Stompanato got into an argument with Lana Turner at their house.
Oh.
And Lana Turner's daughter stabbed him in the chest and killed him.
Not where I thought that was going.
Oh my god. I mean, honestly, like,
Yep.
as far as gruesome endings, maybe that's the best one?
I mean, to be fair, super bad dude. Made mob enforcer for
Good.
one of the biggest mobsters in the U.S. So, like, kind of a shitty dude. Also seems like he was pretty abusive, so not great. Also, upside, 14-year-old acted in self-defense.
That's true.
Yeah, it says
There you go.
coroner's inquest
So,
returned a
was
decision
not
of
charged.
justifiable homicide.
Dang, got him.
And then this
What a-
Stompanato family tried to sue them for $750,000, and then they settled for $20,000.
Pretty low amount. Well, it's probably a lot for them, but I assume if they were suing for that much money, they had a lot of money.
What I love is another thing I read. So Jack takes the money and sets up this whole situation for like $50, right? Basically the whole thing that brings him into it.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be worth it in today's money?
What?
Yes.
Sorry. What did?
$540.
No,
Is that worth
no, No.
it? Is that worth all the shit you got in through for $540?
Oh my god.
I
don't
well,
think so.
you didn't know at the time, so.
Fair.
But $500, $500.
That's true. There's not a lot Dylan would not do for $500.
He's been doing this podcast for free for 4 years.
That's an Xbox, man. Yeah.
That's an Xbox plus some games if you got it on sale.
Would you?
If
you
you're
die
frugal
for
with it,
500
you can make that
$500?
work. You'll never get to play the Xbox,
You can,
but hey,
you can pass it to your next of kin. You can say, "I don't have $500, but I did pre-buy this Xbox
You
before
have to buy
dying."
it. Somebody can gift it to you. That's the part.
you'll
of the
never
gift.
see me again. But here's an Xbox to remember me by.
Also, it is used, so you can't return it.
That's when like when you buy a car or something, and they're like, "Here's a free gift," and then they like tell you the actual retail value or whatever. That's
yeah.
basically that would be it. It's like, here's an Xbox in Call of Duty, actual retail value $550.
Yeah, okay.
Man, so James Cromwell was Alfred. Kim Basinger was Vicky Vale. Danny DeVito was the Penguin. It's just a whole.
Just a Batman cast.
Yeah, not exactly Batman related, but Russell Crowe was Jor-El.
Was Guy Pearce never in any Batman things?
No, he was in the Marvel universe, but not.
Oh, good.
Paul Guilfoyle was on CSI for a long
Yeah,
time. If
that's how
anyone
I.
watched CSI.
Yeah,
That's
how I knew him.
Yep.
Oh, that's the CSI guy. I think. I want to
That's
say.
exactly what I say. Every time it comes on, I'm like, oh, hey, it's the guy from CSI.
I feel like he was like the attorney or something. I don't remember exactly. Or the boss. He was like the boss
Yeah.
of Gil somehow. I just don't remember how. Maybe he was a police
Yeah,
officer.
I can't remember. Maybe he was like a actual like detective or
Yeah.
something, and all the other guys were like the lab guys. And he
It
was...
is hilarious in retrospect that the lab guys were like off like solving crimes.
They did a lot of shit that they should not be doing as lab guys.
He's a captain, Jim Brass. So yeah, he's a captain.
I thought it would be interesting for us to do a movie and TV detective draft where
Yep.
I was thinking four rounds snake draft where we'll go through we'll choose our selections on the best what we want to have our detective team to solve our crime.
All right, here. No, I'll pull up a spreadsheet so we can draft it.
All right.
What is our? Is there like a certain criteria, or are we just
No.
looking for?
Yeah, just you
Okay.
give me your explanation behind your choice though. I want to know Like you choose XYZ. Why are you choosing XYZ? I want to know. And sometimes tell me where they're from, because I may not have seen it, or somebody else may not have seen it. So
All right, I'm up first.
nope,
Oh my
nope. Hold
goodness.
on.
Oh shit.
First up,
no, I thought it was
is
first. Come on.
Actually, Cameron. Cameron's
Hey.
up first.
Yeah, let's go. Manifest my own destiny,
And
baby.
then
Who's next?
it's spinning still. Ben. All right, so I'm the turn.
Man, I'm on the clock.
Yep.
All right. So the first choice I think might surprise you. I'm actually gonna go for. I'm going for breadth of cases and cases they've probably solved,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go Sherlock Holmes.
Okay. All right.
Damn it!
All right. That was also on my list. It seems like it was on Ben's.
That was my number one pick.
Okay.
That was my number one pick.
No, that one's understandable.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great choice at 1-1. It's like the most recognizable detective in the world.
Yeah, is there a specific Sherlock you're going for? Are you going for the BBC show, or are you going for
Oh man, I guess that's a great choice. Which one would I choose? I guess as a detective, the BBC one. The BBC show is great.
I haven't seen it.
I'm
I've
going
only
with
seen
that.
the Guy Ritchie movies.
It's
Which for
so the BBC show I like. So I was gonna say I actually really enjoyed Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock, so I'd be fine with that too. But the BBC show is great. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's really great. There's that one dude I don't remember his name, but that one dude from Fleabag plays Moriarty in it, and he's really good.
Ben, you I think you're on the clock now. The pick is in, or
Yeah,
Ben's
on the clock.
Picks in.
All right, what's the pick?
We're going with the other massively popular literary detective.
Damn it.
Also great in movies. Currently, there have been 3 recent movies that have come out with this character. We're going to go with Hercule Poirot.
Yeah, I started typing it before you said it. I was thinking of which one to take at 1-1. I'm still happy, but I'm sad you took him at 1.
I didn't think this would be here at 3. But I'm gonna go with the world's greatest detective, Mr. Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Dang.
Now, here's where things get interesting, because I will say, in most forms of media outside of comic books, I haven't seen that great of a Batman as a
Hey,
detective.
Robert Pattinson's Batman was pretty good.
I was gonna say Robert Pattinson's Batman was.
I feel like he actually had to solve the crime in that movie. The
That's
other
fair.
ones,
Yeah.
it's more just like the Joker's here this time. Go get it.
action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like shit. How
World's greatest detective.
How did you know it was the Joker? Oh, because he spray painted little smiley faces everywhere and burned the whole stack of
Yeah.
cash.
Because Detective Jim Gordon told me.
We think it's the Joker, Batman. Shit, you're right.
Oh, why do you think that? Oh, he left a playing card that says Joker on it? Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Dylan, you got the
All
next
right,
pick?
so this is a group question. Am I allowed to do it? Can I get like a package deal, or can I do teams? No. It's just solo.
No teams.
Okay.
It's got to be solo.
No, you don't get.
in my
you don't
opinion.
you don't get both Stabler and
Benson.
you get one.
This is just a personal favorite. I'm going to go with Special Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks.
Oh my goodness! Wow. This is the Darko Milicic of this draft.
I can't believe you fucked up so badly.
Hey, Cooper, he kind of solves the case. He finds out who killed
Isn't the
Laura
show-
Palmer.
Doesn't it take a shit ton of time to solve it?
It does, but, Twin Peaks has there's a lot darker and more, mystical things going on in Twin Peaks than just who killed Laura Palmer. But yeah, that's
cool. That's cool. I'm going to take the guy you should have taken. He's been in 2 pretty recent movies. Famously solves the mysteries in like a day, maybe. Portrayed by a great actor who also played James Bond. Give me Benoit Blanc.
Oh yeah,
It was also on my list. That was also.
that's a good one. Man. I got some sleeper picks, I think, for the 4 spot. I'm trying to think of who I want to take at this one. I think I gotta do it. I'm gonna go with Detective Olivia
Wow.
Benson. SVU.
Spanning 2 series.
She had a lot of crossover episodes. She's probably. I would wait. She has to be on the most number of episodes for any detective, right? As a TV series, I feel like she has to be.
I would say at this point.
Like there are like 20 something seasons, and each season has like 20 something episodes. So you're at a lot of TV, and she really cares. You know, she really cares about her stuff. Honorable mention to Detective Stabler. I don't feel good about placing him on this list because story-wise, he was very much like a bad cop. Like he had his the good reasons, but he definitely did like abuse people who got brought into custody. He was a fun character on the show, but I can't put him here. All right, I'm gonna do it. I gotta look up. Let's see. For my third, I'm gonna put Sean Spencer from Psych. That's who I'm gonna put as my third.
On my list as well.
Dude was super cool. Show was awesome. I'm gonna go Sean Spencer.
You know, for how much you love, what's that other fucking show? Scrubs. I feel like Psych is right in your wheelhouse. I feel like those two go hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's just such a fun show. Him and the I want to say sidekick, but the other his other character that's on there. Yeah, it's just they had great chemistry on screen. It was awesome.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go a little bit different. All right, we've gone mostly great detectives, right? I'm gonna go with someone who maybe not as great detective wise, but someone who's gonna join this team. Give me some sex appeal. Really up the levels of attractiveness here. Give me one Thomas Magnum from Magnum PI. Give me
Magnum
that
PI.
sexy mustache, that beautiful Detroit Tigers ball cap, and that gorgeous car. Driving around sexy ass Hawaii. Yeah, that's what I want. 8 seasons, motherfuckers. 8 seasons. Let's go.
All right. No, that's a fair choice. All right, Dylan, you get 2 more.
Do I go for like my heart, or do I go for my brain here? Like, am I going like the world's greatest detective team, or am I gonna pick people who I want to?
I mean, I guess we don't really have an objective in mind with this detective
That's
team.
why I tried to ask up front, and I was met with just, it's pretty fast and loose. You just pick whoever you want.
Yeah, I think you just pick good one. I think like if you were to say like
that's a good,
you want to come up with a team
way to do it
of detectives.
You're building out your police force.
Well, okay, that's actually not fair because I feel like I may have made some different artistic choices here if I was building a team. But you know, I think based on the ranking, you know.
All right. I'm gonna go with a great clinical mind, someone who specializes in psychology, criminology. I'm gonna go with Clarice Sterling from Silence of the Lambs. Even though she did get herself into kind of a kerfuffle at the end of the movie, yeah, she was able to discover this serial killer, Buffalo Bill, and then all right, I have 2 that I'm in between here for my final one.
All right,
my last one, I'm gonna go with Velma Dinkley.
All right.
Because
was on my list, but
Nice.
you couldn't pick the whole team, so you went with the best detective of the bunch, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The one who actually solves the mysteries, doesn't just chance into it like Fred or Shaggy or anybody. But yeah, Velma. I think it goes without saying, iconic.
With my last pick, I am taking one of the original TV detectives from one of the shows that was kind of spoofed by the TV show in LA Confidential. From Dragnet, give me Joe Friday, portrayed by Jack Webb, famously gotta be one of the top cop TV shows, I think. It spawned a couple reboots, a movie. pretty big. That's where I'm going. Give me Friday. Joe Friday.
Question on the clarification: does it need to be an actual like detective? How loose is detective?
I don't know.
You know?
Perry Mason, I guess, would count if you're about to throw up.
Yeah, but he is actually a
lawyer?
detective. Okay,
Some-
I won't go who it is.
Okay, so I would say
He's
this.
a lawyer and a detective, but he does his primary focus, especially in the media, is solving crimes.
So I guess my thing would be are you thinking Dexter?
I was thinking more like secret agent type deal.
Oh no, James Bond.
Yeah, like James Bond.
No.
Okay, we'll leave him
James
out.
Bond
We'll leave him out. That's fine.
James Bond is not a
I don't know.
detective.
He's not a detective.
Solve things.
He's a goddamn
he
spy. He's a
does,
secret
but-
agent.
Okay, all right. I mean, so
All right, we'll leave 'em out.
special
It's
agent,
fine.
like FBI agent counts because they're detectives, but
They work for the Federal
Yeah.
Bureau of Investigation. Yes,
That's
they
fine.
count.
what is
Leave
the
'em out.
I in MI6 stand for?
Intelligence.
Okay, never mind.
I think I could. I don't know. I'd
I don't
rather
know.
speculate, but
I was just throwing it out there because Ben emphasized the I in FBI.
I thought it was intelligence, but maybe I'm wrong
you're
on
probably
that.
right. Yeah,
I'm looking it up.
military
I am
intelligence.
too. Military intelligence.
Military intelligence. All right. So I considered a couple here. I was thinking maybe Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Was thinking Monk from the TV show Monk, really round out the USA crew. I'm going to go with a wild card here. I'm going to go with John McClane from Die Hard.
Good pull. Good pull.
All right. So I think...
Is that it? Are we?
I mean,
are we
Yeah.
yeah, this is
four?
it. We did the 4.
Okay.
All right. So we should post this list somewhere and get feedback as to what people think
Man,
the best team is here.
you look at this by boomers are gonna love my team. Gen X / Xennials are gonna love Cameron's team. Dylan's team's all over the place.
Hipsters are gonna love just because of the Twin Peaks
Peaks.
reference.
Yes.
No, I was
Dylan's
looking
has
at
a real cult following.
Entertainment Weekly, I guess, had one, and they did it by skill level for the people too. And hey, Dale Cooper had 4 out of 5 magnifying glasses. Okay, so
Wow.
Thank God we've got Entertainment Weekly to provide us a breakdown.
I would
Sherlock
like to
did
see.
have 5 out of 5 hourglasses.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sherlock is the OG. I would like to see a team of Sherlock Holmes, Olivia Benson, Sean Spencer, and John McClane in the
Just for
SVU.
vibes.
Just to see how it really turns out. I don't think Sherlock Holmes really has the empathy for that unit, which would be interesting. And Sean Spencer is definitely inappropriate for that context as well. John McClane is basically Stabler, so...
I was gonna say he's like Bud White in this movie. He's just fucking act first,
yeah.
ask questions later.
Honorable mention to other famous one I wouldn't take because duo, the Hardy Boys.
Nancy
Yeah.
Drew.
Also Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew was going to be my next pick if we were doing 5.
Check our Instagram. We'll have a post over there. We'll have our draft picks listed clearly, and you got to let us know who won. Is there somebody that we're missing? What detectives didn't come to our mind that you're thinking of? And hit us up on Instagram for that at Cocktails and Classics Pod. We wanna get your feedback. Should we do more drafts? What should we draft? Cam is the lone goob in the goob squad this week, so he's gonna give us his initial rating, his first time viewing. What would you say earlier, Cam? Virgin viewing.
I didn't say that. You said that, not me.
LA Confidential.
I didn't say that.
And
We
then
have the
Ben
clip.
and I will give you nostalgia ratings and an updated one on the most recent viewing. Cam,
That's not what I
let us
said.
hear it.
Yeah, so I was excited to watch this movie, especially since it made its way back to Netflix. I think it was decent. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Some of the acting was really good. I think the story was a little convoluted. it did all tie together at the end, but yeah, so I thought it was decent. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 6.
So on my first viewing, I give it like an 8 out of 10. Um, I really enjoyed it. I love the kind of, and I'm sure Ben will probably echo this like 50s Americana, especially like LA centralized 50s, 60s, 70s type vibe. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's just things that we've seen for so long. You kind of like have this like time capsuled view of the city from movies and film, television. Um, and I think this movie does a good job of giving you that this time capsuled LA. It does a great job of doing this detective story told in three-ish different point of views or like following main characters. And then it also gives you your who done it mystery, though it is like Cam called it convoluted. Like it's not a tied together story in the end per se. I like the duality, I guess, of the characters. Of you have Exley, who is the goody two shoes, and you have Bud White, who is more of the like act first, hard nosed cop who's gonna do whatever to do what he sees his moral compass sees is right. And I like the way it's tied together. If you like detective movies, if you like noir and crime movies, police procedurals, I guess you could say, definitely recommend it. Check it out. I'm gonna lower it ever so slightly. I think a 7.5 is like a perfect rating for this movie. It's good. I'm somebody who rewatches movies a lot, especially if I enjoy them. And I think this is a fairly good movie. And you may find those little kernels again. It's not like, I don't know, like Knives Out or something where, oh, was there something I missed at the very beginning that I need to watch again so I can see that again? I don't think this one has that much of that. So you're not gonna like completely refine something every time you watch this movie.
All right. So yeah, this is God. It's up there as one of my favorite movies.
Top four Mount Rushmore. Ben's Mount Rushmore movies.
It it definitely. I think it would have a strong case to be on there. It's a classic kind of noir 50s LA that, like you said, Americana feel to it. Going in, I had this movie as probably a 9 out of 10, and I think people can kind of understand what I'm saying when I say there are movies that I love that I don't think are great movies, right? Like I love the movie Top Gun.
I agree.
Is that movie a 9 or a 10? No. Movie's like a 5 or a 6, but it's fun and I love it. I don't know why, but I do. This is one of those movies that I would say is I would legitimately say is like a great movie. I think if this movie comes out a year later or a year earlier, it absolutely is remembered much more than I think it is. I think the fact that this movie had to contend with the Titanic at the Oscars is the only reason it only won 2. I think this movie is so good. The acting is phenomenal, especially when you consider Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe. This was like their first movie. They had done next to nothing before this. They had done nothing that was like starring. And they came in and delivered these performances that just knocked it out of the park. On this rewatch, again, I think was one of the main times that I've sat there and been like, wow, it's a movie that really makes me think about the fact that I don't like the characters and I'm still rooting for them to succeed, despite the fact that I don't think they're not this paragon of what is right. They all seem human. They all have things that are negative about them. They're not just all this, everything about them is sunshine and roses and everything they do is the right thing and all of this. That they're people. I think the mystery is kind of confusing. I will admit that. I think it's hard for me to separate that even from the fact that I've seen it so many times that I kind of I think the more you see it, the more it kind of makes sense and you understand it. There isn't like a whodunit aspect of like, oh, if I watched this earlier, is there a clue? I don't know. I could watch this movie frequently and still just love it. Man, this might move up. This might be a 10 from me. I
Wow.
think this movie's great. One thing we didn't talk about, but I do also really love the score to this movie. The way that they play it with feeling kind of along the lines of the 50s era, but also just the way that they play into the tension in that when things are going on, I think is phenomenal. Yeah, I think it's a shame that they didn't make they did the Black Dahlia, but they didn't do the other like 2 books of James Ellroy's LA trilogy. I did read that, unfortunately, and I don't know where it stands, there was a sequel planned. It was supposed to be in the works with Chadwick Boseman before his passing. So I don't know now where that movie stands. It was apparently supposed to take place in like the early 70s. It's kind of along the same feelings of like I can't remember who he was supposed to be, but someone's somehow related to the original. But yeah, this movie it's a 10 for me. I think it's a great movie. If you like detective stories, give it a shot. If you like that noir style, it's definitely up your alley. You should definitely give it a shot.
Ben, you ever played LA Noir?
That was like one of those games that I think I bought like the minute it came out. I
Okay.
was not a big like go into the store on video game releases, but I remember that one coming out and being like, I need to go buy this so I can start playing it right now.
It's such a fun game. It's a shame that never really took, like, that technology never really took off.
Well, that is a game that I remember seeing like, so I remember watching or playing that game, and I remember playing the original Red Dead Revolver. So seeing when like Red Dead Redemption came out and then Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm still sitting here like, man, when are we gonna get that follow up to LA Noir though? I don't care
Never.
if
The
you don't
studio
do
closed that made the game.
Rockstar made the game.
Yeah, but the studio that like created the, like, actually Rockstar published it. The studio
Oh,
that made the game
I'll
and
be
did the
honest.
mocap for it,
I don't
I
care
think
if we don't get all
went
the
belly up.
one. I think 3D modeling is enough now that mocap wouldn't
Yeah,
even be
that's true.
necessary to do what they did. I think it's just come that far in that much time. But yeah, I do wish that was something that would have happened.
No, that would be sweet. If there was if there was an LA Noir 2, I definitely would buy it and play it.
Oh, in a heartbeat. As we said earlier, check out LA Confidential on Netflix as of recording. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod, and check out our website, www.cocktailsandclassicspod.com. Check out our draft post to let us know, did we get it right? What detectives are we missing? On show notes, they'll tell you how to make a scotch sour. Share us with your friends and family. Leave a rating wherever you listen. Subscribe. Really helps us out. Helps us grow the podcast and make more content for you. And as always, watch responsibly.